Hey guys, so just working on our next step, so hopefully you have your research question by now, and we need to start working on developing a plan, so an experimental design plan. So let's first look at the problem definition. So hopefully, like I said, you've got your research question that is in line with this topic here, so the rehabilitation area around the Wonthaggi desalination plant. So from our last video, our last slide that we did, that was the topic that was given, and then there was a long list of examples that you could look at. And one of the examples was the effect on bird populations, so this is an example of how you'd put that into a question. Has the rehabilitation program had any effect on the bird populations around the desalination plant? So see that it's phrased in a way that is researchable. Okay, so if you haven't done that yet, please get that done and started. And then we can move into the planning phase. So on OneNote, you'll see the plan template. I will show you at the end of the video where it is so that you can get to it. Okay, and then the key things that you will cover, which it's all laid out, is the purpose of the investigation. Okay, the scientific concepts that would be covered, potential problems and issues, a prediction, the techniques and materials that you're going to use, and a rationale for the method in which you're going to produce the investigation. Okay, so we're working towards producing a poster at the end with all our findings. When not next week, but the next week, week 7, we'll be going to the desal plant to collect our primary data. This is an example, so I've taken that question, and it's a very simplified example. I expect a little bit more from you guys. So the purpose: to assess the rise of or fall in bird populations due to the reconstruction of the coastal heathland around the desalination plant. Concepts: relationships through the food web, monitoring changes in the ecosystem, potential risks and problems that we might face. Difficulty in finding baseline data is definitely going to be a problem for a few of us. Hopefully there's some hints and tips coming up that will help. And then making a prediction of what you think you'll find. Okay, so it was farmland previously, we know that from our prior understanding, so from that we can make predictions. Experimental design, so what is the method in which we're going to test this theory and explore this concept? So our primary data collection, so we started doing it in the garden the other day, and chapter 14 will help a lot with this. Okay, so that's outlining these 4 different types of sampling or surveying. Okay, so quadrats, which is what we were looking at random and systematic sampling. Transects can be really good for beach locations. We will be very close to the beach. Measuring of canopy cover, observing fauna, soil, water and air testing. Okay, we do have testing kits for soil and water. I could double check if we have one for air. If it's what you required, we'll make sure it's there. That's why these need to be in at the end of next week so we can gather materials. Including this idea of what materials are required and how you'll display your findings. As an example. Method of data collection will rely on the direct observation using binoculars and a bird identification guide. Also starting to consider how you'll start representing this data, tables, graphs, that sort of thing. Our secondary data collection. So this is data that's come from a different source. Okay, so when you want to start looking at this is what we can start looking at now. So going to these websites, so the State of the Environment report has environmental indicators which will tell us how we can tell something is healthy, so water and vegetation cover and things like that. The nature kit, that that email, that website that we looked at, and then Aquasure is the desalination plant website. Okay, and then definitely ask heaps of questions when we're at the desal plant in week 7. So they are due on the 25th of May. I'll just show you where the plan is. So if you go to OneNote, okay, not in Mastery Questions, I'm in the Outdoor Ed book. So down in the Enviro book, over here, Practical Investigation. So the developing a plan is what you will have found this video through, and then the plan template. Okay, so just working through this and filling out the different aspects of what you'll need to do. Okay, to push this to your own page, right-click, distribute page, and push to your wherever you'd like it. I'll let you decide where you want to put it. Okay, or you can just move and copy. So the first part is the plan, which is talking about sort of the philosophical aspects or scientific concepts. So anticipated problems, potential risks and issues, ethical issues is a whole other story. So we won't be animal trapping or anything like that because we don't have the permits to do so. Prediction, and then the prediction of your changes. And then outlining your method of data collection. So what's your method going to be, the materials that you need, and a rationale for why you've chosen this method. Okay, so this will all be due next week, so you can get started on that today. Okay.